Let's go to heaven. Why is heaven so vital that we're supposed to think about it often? Do you remember what Paul said to the Colossians, where he never went to Colossae? He wrote them a letter. And what did he say to them? Set your affections, your desires, your thumia, remember epithumia, the word for lust, your great desires. Set your affections on things above, where Christ is seated at the right hand of the Father. What was he talking about? Heaven. Why is it so important that we think about heaven all the time? Because our orientation in life, when we got saved, Jesus turned our little boat around and we're headed to heaven. And do you know how many people go to heaven? They go backward. They're looking at the earth and like there's this tractor beam from God pulling them toward heaven, and they're not even looking there. And their life is full of sorrow, and they feel empty, and they feel, they're endlessly trying to pump up more fun and joy and activity, and they're so empty because they're facing the wrong way. Don't get dragged to heaven. Run. Long for his appearing. So, why is heaven so vital? We should think about it often. And what we've come to now is our seventh, our final of the clear events that are going to be on your quiz, already were on your quiz, but are going to be on your test. And the seventh one is dwelling with God in eternity and heaven. And there's so much about heaven in the Bible that I'm only going to survey it with you. But the big picture is, we're down here in the last one, saints finally get to start enjoying God's invitation to dwell in his captivating, satisfying, sustaining presence forever. If you ever get the chance to go to Answers in Genesis, Ken Ham's place out in Kentucky, they have a planetarium there. Everything there is great. The Creation Museum, everything there is great. I love the whole deal. But one thing they do is they do this planetarium where it shows you the size of the universe. And you kind of tip back in your chair. It's like, being in one of those expensive theaters, and the whole ceiling is the planetarium. And they show, the Creation Museum, and then a drone, and then as you're seeing the Earth, and then you see the solar system, it's that kind of thing. Heaven is going to be captivating because we're going to be with the one that is endless. That's why David said in Psalm 16:11, "Thou, God, are going to show me the path of life." Remember I told you the story about the spear fishing and all that? I use that verse. "You will show me the path of life. In your presence is fullness of joy." We only partially are aware of the Lord's presence. We try to think about it, but life beckons, and we've got to do our laundry and get ready for a missions conference and do that devotional project, and then we've got to spend time with our boyfriend or girlfriend and go to music practice and play soccer. And then we think about heaven, and we go back. But when we're in his presence, when we finally get to start enjoying God's invitation to dwell in his captivating, satisfying, sustaining presence, we start understanding what a blessing this all is. Once again, I'll show you this, what we've done this week. We thought about what we are. We're the church on earth getting ready to be the church in heaven, answering for our lives. God is going to right all wrongs and judge all sin. He comes back and becomes the king of earth. He reigns for 1,000 years, yet sadly, almost everybody rejects his reign. The millennium is when God gives humanity a nearly perfect earth and an unrestricted access to God, and they still don't like him. How do you like that? That's what the millennium's for. All these people that think if we would just clean up the inner cities, if we just give pure water, if we just get good food and good education, and if we just do all that and give everybody equal access to everything, the world will get better. No, it won't. God does it. I already know. He makes the perfect world. There are no tyrants. There's no anything that's awful going on. And still, almost everyone rejects him. And so, they're all judged like we just read and cast in the lake of fire. And this is where we are ending our class. We're dwelling in the house of the Lord forever. Basically, Revelation illustrates the promises of Jesus. In Revelation 1, John is on Patmos, and Jesus said, "I'm with you always." And he goes, hey, John, I'm over here. And John couldn't believe it. What he got to see is what is true for all of us. On Patmos, John said, wow, you know where I am? You're always here. And so Revelation 1 shows us Jesus is with us always. Revelation 2 and 3, Jesus wants us to be a part of him building his church. And I hope that you decide that's your life's work. You want to be involved, connected, serving Christ's church. Gathering people. Jesus said, I'm going to build my church. We don't build it. He does. We just do our part. And all of you, through evangelism, through missions, through being faithful in your local church, through raising a godly family, you're a part. Revelation 4-20 is a reminder that Jesus promised something. He said, you remember in Matthew 24, 25, and 26, especially 26, when he's in his judgment with the religious leaders, he said, when they were really getting upset at him, wanted to crucify him, he said, hereafter you'll see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of glory, seated at the right hand of the Father. And Revelation shows us that event happening. And then Revelation 21 and 22 is a reminder of Matthew 8, where Jesus said, those of you getting saved are going to sit down at a banquet with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob in heaven. And Jesus saying, I go and prepare a place for you, because my heart's desire is that where I am, there you may be also.